Ladies and gentlemen, December 21st, 2022 will go down as a day of happiness and sadness. Franco Harris, the great running back for the Steelers, probably the best money back of his era, died after, I guess, a short illness. That he was in his early 70s, and we were going to do something on him down the road, and all the Steeler and Seattle fans, were sorry for your loss. But something very important happened. The World Juniors came back to the Maritimes. In a way that nobody thought would happen because of the scandal with Hockey Canada and the World Junior program. But there was an incident in Colorado that made NHL history, a first time in nearly 50 years that a person with the name Richard on the back of his jersey for the Montreal Canadiens scored a goal. Now you're saying to yourself, Jeffrey, who is this Richard guy? Well, we're going to go over a little part of his career, and he's been on everybody's radar for Montreal since he signed with the Habs after being a prospect in the Nashville and Tampa Bay program for a number of years. Now, Anthony Richard, I've been following his career ever since his great Q numbers in the early to mid 2010s. Now, he's currently playing for the Habs and scored his first goal ever for Colorado. Now, the native of Trois-Rivières, again, it's the first Richard to score for Montreal since the Pocket Rocket in the mid-1970s, which make it close to 50 years. Now, born December 20th, 96, the 5'10", 176-pound left winger was putting up dynamite numbers in the minor leagues for Montreal's affiliate, the Rocket, no pun intended. That kind of sums it up right there. Now, he started playing midget hockey in the Quebec program and then graduated to Laval d'Or Fareuse of the Quebec League and was drafted by the Predators in the fourth round of the 2015 NHL entry draft, 100 overall. In his fourth and final season with the Fareurs in 2016, he was signed to a 3-year entry-level contract in Nashville on November 14, 2015. Now, after several years in the minor leagues, in the 2019 season, he was recalled from the AHL affiliate, the Milwaukee Admirals, to the Predators on December 1st, 2018, due to an injury to forward Philip Forsberg, and made his NHL debut against the Blackhawks in a 5-2 victory. He was then returned to the Admirals following the game. Now, during the 21-22 campaign, having contributed 7 goals and 12 points to 31 regular season games with the Admirals, while in the midst of his 6th year within the Predators organization, Richard was traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for Jimmy Huntington on February 1st, 2022. Didn't work out with Tampa Bay. Now, in July, big coverage of this because, again, the last Richard to play with Montreal was in the mid-1970s. He signed as a free agent to a 1-year, 2-way contract with the Habs for the 2022-23 season. Now, on December 21st, 2022, again, he scored his first NHL goal in a road contest against Colorado. Now, with his customary jersey number 20 already in use by number 1 pick Juraj Slafkovsky, Richard instead adopted number 9, in reference to the iconic Canadiens player Maurice Richard, and he's a great number 9. Now, when he signed with Montreal, he was assigned to play with the Canadiens' AHL affiliate in Laval, the Rocket, and made an immediate impact even as the team struggled. His performance with the team was sufficiently strong to begin debate as to whether or when he would be called up to play in the NHL. On December 18th, the Canadiens announced he'd been called up from the Rocket. At the time of the call, he had led the league with 18 goals in 27 games and with 31 points and was third in overall point standings. Now, he played his first game against the Coyotes on the 19th, which, of course, was a 3-2 overtime win for Montreal. Now, recapping his stats so far, in Trois-Rivières, the Quebec Midget AAA League, he played 2 seasons before graduating to Val d'Or, where he had 6 goals in 42 games in 2013. In 2014, he had 52 points in 66 games, but 15 he really opened out with 91 points in 66 games, including 43 counters, and in the playoffs, 22 points in 17 games, including 12 goals. 2016, again, he played with the Q squad for most of the season, but was called up with the big club affiliate in Milwaukee for 3 playoff games. Now, he played the majority of the season in 17 with Milwaukee with 4 goals in 55 games. 18 and 19 again with Milwaukee, 43 total goals. Called up to the Predators for 1 game. 2020 he had 14 goals in 60 games. And 1 more game with the Predators. Then moved on to Chicago Wolves in 2021 with 11 goals and 7 assists for 18 points. 2022 between Milwaukee and Syracuse he had 17 points in 38 games. Now, he's also been very involved in international play. He played for Team Canada Quebec at the U17 Internationals in 2013 with a 4th-place finish with 1 goal in 6 games. Now, Richard is best to be described as a workmanlike player, and with the Montreal Canadiens youth movements, it's going to be interesting how he's going to play out. Because Montreal right now, he's probably one of the older, he's still a rookie, really, technically, even though he probably doesn't qualify with the multiple years AHL. But Montreal's youth movement, Martin St. Louis has seen something in this guy. They wouldn't have signed it. Now, he can protect some of the players of his own size in Montreal. But I think what they want him to do is basically try him out. It could be 10, 15, 20 games to see if he can stay in the NHL. While it's 2 games, it's 2 games in with Montreal, and he also has already been positive, especially in Colorado. Now, the 7-game road trip that Montreal's going to be on, I think that's the reason why they called him up, because they're suffering from injuries. Certain players will be out for either remainder of 2022 or most of early 2023. So it's good to see to give him a chance. Now, I would say it's a wait-and-see thing. Is he going to score a lot of goals in Montreal? Well, like I said, he shows he can play in the queue and play that Martin St. Louis style. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. What Montreal went through last year with losing, 60 games, and a lot of games in overtime, a lot of games on the road, any help he can give. But you put Richard on a jersey, you're going to live up to the name. And I tell you what I'm saying about this. In my extended family, the Courriers, right, there's only 3 have made the NHL. Larry Courrier, who played with Buffalo in the 1970s. That's a shout out to the 70 Sabres fan. Maybe she doesn't know that. But he was the first Courrier with an E to play in the NHL. But cousins William and Alexandra, William, of course, played with Buffalo. Another coincidence for 70 Sabres fan. And he went on to Vegas. And Alexandra is playing with Nashville. Ironically, he scored a winner the other night. Now, they're very talented players, but it's a long road for a Courrier, and especially for a Richard, because Jacques Richard did well as a draft pick back in the 70s until he got into a little peccadillos, but put up good numbers with Atlanta, Buffalo, and Quebec. So there's not been too many Richards that made the NHL over the last number of years. So for him to have Richard on the back of his jersey all these years and to finally make it to the NHL with the Montreal Canadiens and score his first goal, like he did it in Nashville, even though we're talking about him in Quebec when he was playing in Nashville, he's a Richard. That name means a lot to hockey fans. So this is the first time again, nearly a half a century. This is like you turning on an exhibition game, the Mets and the Yankees, and you see a guy, the back of your jersey that says Ruth or Jeter, okay? Or Manningly, not the coaches or whatever. Can you imagine if a Babe Ruth Jr. or Babe Ruth, like a Ruth, for play for the Yankees like Joseph Ruth? It means a lot. Every time you see Richard on the back of the jersey, it celebrates the glorious ones, as we call them, the habitant. And I, for one, am proud to say I'm doing a podcast. The first time I've done a podcast on a member of the Richard family that wasn't a look back. He's current. He's what's going on. He's now. But this is going to be quite interesting if they put him with Caulfield. And Caulfield is going to be hugging Richard in a big game coming up because they're on that West Coast string where they also play. I think they're playing a couple of Canadian games. It's going to be very interesting. So, Anthony, congratulations. Welcome to the show. We're glad that you're here. And ladies and gentlemen, if this is the first time you're hearing my voice and the first time you hear me brag up the Montreal Canadiens, I am a child of the Montreal Canadiens. My father, when he was waiting for me to be born, he was saving the information from all the Montreal Canadiens games from the local papers. There was little notebooks, and when he died, I found these notebooks. So even in the womb, ladies and gentlemen, from day one, I was a Montreal Canadiens fan. And as we like to say, and 70 Sabres fan can back it up because you did a piece of artwork on me. It's a shout out. I'm Montreal for life. Hold the torch high. We will hold it high for Anthony. Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, if we ever get back to the Stanley Cup final and win this time, we came close with Cole and Suzuki. Can you imagine the Toronto Maple Leaf and all the fans across the world? Their heads are going to explode. Because no matter what they tried to do, we could have bet Tampa Bay we couldn't score enough goals. Toronto put a curse on us and we got away from the curse because we bet them in the playoffs. See, Montreal Canadiens fans are fans of the history of what got us here. And do you know that Maurice Richard was almost traded? Do you know the Montreal Canadiens almost folded 3 times? And you got to hold that torch high. And Anthony's doing that tonight. And congratulations. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for listening. Bye.